Meaning of symbols example. Let us consider an example. So our example is x is less than 3. So basically, as you can see, our inequality is less than and the value of x is less than 3. In order to understand what actually this means, what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider a number line. So this is my number line where this is my origin and all the numbers on the right of origin is positive and all the numbers on the left of origin is negative. As you can see, the value of x is less than 3. So basically this is the position where the value of x starts and every value less than 3 will be the part of that inequality. And as you can see, the end value is not included. So I'm going to consider a point here at 3. So this will be my point 3, where you can see that this is a circle, like it's not a filled circle because this value 3 is not included for the inequality. So all the values less than this value will be included. So I'm going to consider an arrow, and this is the arrow that will represent this inequality. Now let's consider another inequality. So my another inequality is x is less than or equal to 3. As you can see, my end values are considered. So I'm going to consider a number line. So this is my number line. Let's consider 3 and my point is this point, but this time the inequality is considered as the end value included. So every value that is at 3 and less than 3 will be the part of this inequality. So I'm going to draw an arrow, and this is the arrow. Now if you compare these two inequalities, you will see that every value for these two inequalities is common except this point 3, because for the first inequality 3 is not the part of that inequality because the end value is not included on this inequality. But in this inequality, which is the second inequality, end value is included. Now let's consider an example for the greater than. So my example is x is greater than 4. Now let's consider a number line. So this is the number line. I'm going to represent 4 on the number line, and we need to remember that the end value is not included. So my point is 4, which is this point. So let's consider a point. So this is my point 4, and this is not a filled circle. This is basically like an empty circle because this point is not the part of the inequality, and every value greater than 4 is the part of the inequality. So I'm going to draw an arrow, which is this arrow, and all the values excluding 4 and on the right side of 4 is the part of this inequality. Now let's consider x is greater than or equal to 4, and if we do that, we have a number line right here. Let's consider 4, and this time we are including the value of 4. So we are considering a filled circle or a filled point, and every value on the right side of 4 is the part of this inequality. So this is the representation of this inequality. The difference between these two inequalities, basically for the inequality x is greater than 4, 4 is not included, but for the inequality x is greater than or equal to 4, 4 is the end value and it's also included. And this is how we will represent the inequalities in the graph.